Hey everyone, Miff here, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. In this episode, we have so much to do. We'll see if we'll be able to do everything that I have in mind. First we're going to go back to Athkatla to try to finish up the remaining Mage Stronghold quests that we have left. But even before that, we have a very notable encounter to do in the Temple District. So if you remember some episodes past, when we were investigating Isaiah Rowanel in order to ruin his reputation and rescue Nalia from his clutches, we stumbled upon a note that pointed us to the fact that Isaiah dabbled in slavery, and also mentioned the existence of a slaver outpost, apparently located somewhere in the Temple District in Athkatla, and this is the one, the guarded compound. And going off of the information that we found in the note, we decided to investigate the slaver operations in Athkatla once again and check out what's inside this suspicious estate.
You will suffer. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. So our suspicions definitely grow upon witnessing the conversation between these two characters at the entrance. And if we ask them what this place is, they are going to be uncooperative and offer us a lesson instead. So let's go with that. They're going to teleport upstairs, but on this floor we're going to have an encounter that I'm kind of going to overanalyze, but I want to do it in a pretty clean way. And this encounter can be entirely trivialized by just one death spell that we don't have available on us anymore because we are after our encounter with Neveziah. But even if I had a death spell available, I wouldn't use it just to make this encounter a little bit more interesting. But anyway, we're going to have to make some gear changes, and I'm going to explain that in a second. Basically, once we progress further into this main room, there's going to be kind of a trap that's going to summon quite a variety of creatures, but three among them are notable. There's going to be an Ifriti, a Nishru, and a Glabrezu. And because the Nishru is a mist that can drain the highest level spells that a character has memorized if they get hit, we are going to go in with our characters, the two of them that don't have any spells that could be drained in such a way. Keldorn's Dispel Magic and True Sight aren't considered spells in that regard. He doesn't have to, memorize them. They are just his innate abilities as an Inquisitor, so they are safe from the Nishru's draining properties. And Kirinai, of course, doesn't have any spells either. So we're going to go in with them, because we don't want to lose any of our remaining spells and that we have on our other characters. Then also I've changed some gear around to have Keldorn, one out of those two characters, not reliant on any magical buffs. So he has the dexterity from the gloves, strength from the belt, and 65 fire resistance just from gear. And that's because the Glabrezu, among its abilities, it has a remove magic. So I want to have at least one character that's going to be able to perform pretty well, even without any buffs. And since we actually forgot to change Edwin's level 3 spells after our battle with Fearcrag, he still has these protection from fire spells, and I'm going to use them on our two characters here. And of course we're protecting them from fire because of that Ifriti and his assortment of fire spells, and I'm going to basically hide with our other characters in this room, so that hopefully the Ifriti is not going to feel the urge to throw some fireballs at them. And also I think we might give Kirinai a potion of invulnerability just in case. So yeah, now we are ready. We're going to kind of hide it with Kirinai, I think, in there. And we're going to send Keldorn forth, and I'm going to actually use his True Sight already, so that Ifriti, whenever he wants to go invisible, hopefully he gets revealed quite quickly. And let's see what we have here. Alright, the Glabrezu didn't spawn, and that's a bug that I'm familiar with. I've encountered that before. So I come prepared with a console command, which is still just kind of a workaround. I think this is the correct type of Glabrezu. There's many of them in the game files. And it's going to spawn in the middle of the screen, so I want it over there, because when we spawn it like that, I think it still can actually fight with the other summons, which we don't want. We want him to attack our guys. But anyway, this should be the correct type of Glabrezu, which is considered a summoned creature, and it's not going to give us any experience. And that's kind of the point of this encounter, that we have different summoned creatures, and none of them are going to give us experience. So this should be the correct one. And yeah, we have basically a Mordenkainen sword, a Nishru and Ifriti, and some Ogre Berserkers and an Ether Cap. And basically all of these creatures except the Ifriti and the Glabrezu would have been cleaned out by just one death spell. And that's because SCS makes a distinction between summoned and gated creatures. So all types of genies and fiends are considered gated and not summoned, so death spell wouldn't work on them and wouldn't just kill them outright. But still, you know, most of the creatures would die. Anyway, let's get rid of that Glabrezu first. And let's see if he throws a remove magic at us. Okay, we don't care about the fire spells of the Ifriti. Okay, Keldorn is getting a little destroyed there. These fireballs are kind of nice because they work against the other less notable summons. Okay, the Glabrezu is near death. Alright, cool. Now the next target of ours is going to be the Nishru. And I think I'm going to leave Kirinai out there in the distance. I prepared a potion of invulnerability to increase her armor class if we want to go into melee, but I don't know if that's going to be the case yet. We're not doing too much physical damage to that Nishru, but well, Keldorn is not doing all that well in there among all of these creatures. Alright, now that this Nishru is gone, we can focus on that Ifriti. And Keldorn is getting really destroyed. But anyway, now we can move in with our other characters, and we're going to just kind of try to save Keldorn over there. And we can rearrange our gear again. Okay, so Jaheira is not encumbered anymore and can move. This magical sword is invulnerable to all physical damage. So we're going to have to use Edwin and some magic missiles. I think it's going to take 3 casts. Also, the damage that Keldorn does with his Hallowed Redeemer when he's hit would also work on the sword, but of course I don't want Keldorn to get hit anymore. We're just going to heal him with a spell. And one more of these should do it. Alright, so this was a little bit more messy than I wanted, but we're done with the easy stuff. The main fight, of course, awaits us upstairs, and we're going to loot the whole place after we're done with that, I think. Right, and now we are going to start pre-buffing, because we are going to need some buffs for that main fight. We still have some stone skins on the Senashira.
What should I fetch now?
Not on Edwin, but we have spirit armor for Senashira. I'm going to use that potion of invulnerability on Kirinai, and she is also going to pre-buff with some mirror images in a second.
Point the sword and I shall strike.
Now, actually, don't do that yet.
I hear you well enough.
We need some chaotic commands.
I await your need.
That's mainly to protect us from stuns, because there's going to be
Stand amongst the righteous.
a character with a very deadly weapon that could easily stun us, and we don't want that to happen. Keldorn and Edwin are going to be unprotected in that way, but they don't matter that much. Okay, now let's go with some personal buffs for Animan. Actually, let's go with that blade barrier on him too.
What
I think I might give some mirror images to our mages already. You can drink that potion. And then pre-buff with the mirror images. Let's just get some holy power. A little bless, perhaps.
What is it?
And what can you do? You don't have any spell immunities anymore, but you have blur. You can buff up with that.
I shall go forth at your command.
Okay. Also, haste is needed. I almost forgot about that. Right, and now let's go upstairs. Now we're ready. Right, and here there's going to be the main fight. There are also two traps, one here, coming to this like pillar, I guess, and the other one over here. So we can't really move right now, because these traps are actually pretty deadly. They do a lot of damage and they can hold us. And we want to do it the proper way. So we're going to have Kira and I detect some traps for us. And we're going to throw some cloud kills, just to keep these characters here, the spellcasters, not quite as effective as they will be if they are not pestered by some cloud kills, especially since also we have used all of our anti-magic, like dispelling stuff, basically, in our fight against Neveziah. Actually, Edwin is going to wait for a second, and Anoman is going to start casting a dispel magic, and I think we're going to also throw a dispel magic in a second with Keldorn, just to kind of remove some of their buffs. Once they kind of move into our vision, I would like to introduce the whole party here. Not that. Actually, you know what? I forgot to pre-buff Anoman with this True Seeing. So I think I am going to use Keldorn's True Sight here, because there is a thief, and that's probably going to be approaching, going through that cloud kill perhaps. And also, now after a couple seconds have passed, let's throw in another cloud kill in there. But there is an invisible thief that's we want to keep revealed as much as possible, because she is level 19, and she's going to be able to do some ×5 backstabs on us. Also, well, since we're talking about the crew here that's approaching us, they're all basically around level 16 or 17 when it comes to these like physical damage-oriented opponents and this cleric. But Keta, the thief that we have made or met downstairs, is a level 19 thief, and Sion or Sion is a mage of level 22, so he has access, of course, to level 9 spells, and he's pretty deadly. He's going to have a lot of pre-buffs, surely, when he shows up. Stallman here is their cleric. I think he's level 17. Then Matheran in SCS is a barbarian, so he has that barbarian rage ability. Koshi is a Kensai, and that's unchanged, and he's dual wielding, and he has that very notable weapon that we're going to check out once we have killed him and obtained it for ourselves. And there's also Olaf Rasmussen here, and in SCS he is a berserker. So of course this whole fight is quite buffed. Also, their traps that they would normally in the unmodded game would be able to trigger on themselves, they don't work on them. So they are only something that's dangerous to us. Right, Stallman actually doesn't have level 7 spells, it seems. He doesn't have Shield of the Archons. And you know what? Actually having Insect Plague would have been pretty useful here on Jaheira, but let's get Defensive Harmony. And Senashira, let's start attacking Koshi. Right, another Cloud Kill has hit. That Dispel Magic kind of hit a little too early. I wanted to have a chance at least. Not a very good chance, but we would have at least a chance to dispel Sion, and only now, or Sion, only now his pre-buffs are going to get triggered. Alright, now we have these traps visible. Let's disarm this one, and let's see what he has to offer. He has Globe, he has Spell Turning, he has Spell Shield, he has protection from magic energy and from cold. He has improved mantle, horrid wilting, and immunity to abjuration. Okay, so the spell magic is actually not going to work on him anyway. He is probably going to be mostly damaged by the cloud kills. And here comes Keta. She was revealed by our true side, I think. Alright, we have defensive harmony. Hanuman is not casting anymore here, and we are going to direct our attacks onto Koshi. Right, the trap is dispelled. Let's try to spread out a little bit. And let's kill Koshi as soon as possible, because he's the one with the stunning weapon. And something is coming our way. Remove magic on Senashira. We want to get her out of there to minimize the effects of that spell. Actually, Edwin can move in that room to be a little safer. And is Koshi still alive? I think. Okay, he's dead. So let's not step into that trap, but let's deal with all of these guys. Alright, they're both just barely injured. Alright, that Dispel Magic was effective on Senashira's spells, but not on Animen's spells, so she still has at least those chaotic commands and remove fear, so that's pretty cool. Let's just renew some mirror images on her. And actually, Edwin is going to throw in another cloud kill, and I think we're going to have Kiranai throw some daggers at their cleric. And here our melee guys are going to deal with their melee guys. Alright, and Senashira is going to throw the fourth cloud kill, which is going to make us pretty safe, I think, from their casts. Right, Matheran is dead. Let's now focus on Olaf Rasmussen. Actually... Right, Keta is also still there, so let's try to get her. And I guess... yeah, Scion died from the cloud kills. One weakness of his is that he doesn't have a lot of hit points. Alright, and Keta got destroyed as well. Alright, so this was pretty easy. But yeah, we came basically well prepared for their tricks, and we have used quite a few of these cloud kills, but, you know, like I said, since we didn't have dispelling spells, we just kind of had to resort to that kind of stuff. Let's get rid of these cloud kills, by the way. Alright. And now there is the there's the time to loot and open some stuff. There's going to be a couple of hidden passages, and I'm going to just while our haste is still active, I'm going to go with Kiranai and like unlock some of these things and untrap them. Okay, this one is trapped.
What is it? It will be done. Yes. Whatever you desire.
Alright, I think these are empty. Well, apparently they have a chance of spawning some decent minor treasures. Alright, Senashira is going to have to come here and loot the rest.
Speak. Certainly.
Just first, when I'm thinking about it, I'm just looting the containers, and then of course the main stuff in here is of course on the corpses of the opponents that we have just defeated. Have some more projectiles. Oh yeah, we can also give Senashira this stuff. These ones are pretty notable darts. And a wand of paralyzation is another notable piece of loot. I want to be kind of quick with the looting. Oh my god, already 20 minutes in. And I wanted to do so much in this episode, man. Well, we'll see how it goes. Alright, so this floor is, well, not entirely. It's not done yet. We have one more room. Can't identify these spears. Sinashira, what is up with you? Here's a sling +2 and some bullets +2, and are basically passages that lead to nowhere. This is the same kind of interior layout that's used in a different place that we're going to explore soon. Alright, now let's loot the corpses here. Of course, the most notable piece of equipment is this katana that Koshi had. Actually, let's get one scroll and identify it already. It's called Celestial Fury, and actually in the Enhanced Edition they gave it a description. Normally in the unmodded game, not in the unmodded game, in the classic Baldur's Gate 2, it just has a normal, like, magical katana description. This description that they gave it is actually pretty decent. So I'm just scrolling past it, so you can pause and read it if you want. But anyway, this is an extremely powerful weapon because it has this property, Booming Thunder, on it, that basically each hit that this katana makes, an opponent has to save versus spell or be stunned. And once they get stunned, it's basically over. And this ability alone can just trivialize so many encounters. Even in SCS, there's a lot of opponents that are just simply not immune to stun. And if you have a lot of attacks, like dual wielding this with a speed weapon, like sooner or later they are going to get stunned, and then it's going to be game over for them. And also it can deal an extra 20 electrical damage to the target sometimes. It can also have a pretty nice damaging lightning bolt and blindness, and it's a +3 enchanted katana. And that's basically kind of the problem I have with katanas, is that they are either too weak or too strong. Basically, due to the fact that katanas have the 1d10 base damage, kind of that of a two-handed sword or a halberd, the developers elected to go with an approach that they basically, well, in most cases, they have katanas that are one enchantment level lower than other weapons available to you. Celestial Fury is kind of an exception to that, being +3. But then, and you know, the Thronal Ball katana is also really weak compared to many other different like weapons available. So I guess, you know, because of that high base damage, and I don't know, because of the design choices that they went for, some of the katanas are like clearly weaker than other available weapons. But Celestial Fury is a completely different case of being way too strong. And that's kind of why I don't like using katanas in general, because, you know, you either have access to weapons that are too weak or too strong, because Celestial Fury is just completely ridiculous when it comes to that stun. It's a very fun weapon to use, you know, every once in a while, but generally it can ruin a lot of your fun with some encounters. I really can't identify too much. Sinashira. They basically have some pretty basic magical loot. Also, these empty potion bottles, they are always on them, and they're basically only here in this place, and kind of signifying that, you know, I guess that Koshi, for example, applied an Oil of Speed and that kind of stuff. But anyway, from them we also have another Gift of Peace, that helmet that gives us 20% resistance to different elements. I think this one, yeah, you should be able to identify. And yeah, basically like full plate +1, battle axe +2, kind of basic magical equipment.
Yeah, tell me all about it.
And now I think nothing else on this floor is trapped.
It must be done.
And I'm trying to be pretty quick with the looting here, because we have so much more to do, man. But of course we do want to loot everything available here. Okay, I think this one is locked though, yeah. Okay, that armor scroll, I'm not even going to bother with it.
Yes? Direct me as you will.
Okay, in the guarded compound, I think this is empty, this altar, yeah. In this room, all of these bookshelves don't have anything interesting. Here there might be some minor goodies. Right, not too much. Alright, now we are done completely.
Yes?
Wow, and of course the main thing that I wanted to do in this episode were the Mage Stronghold quests.
What is it?
And there should be a follow-up available for us. I'm actually going to teleport already. There should be a follow-up available to us in the planar sphere.
Without doubt.
So let's check it out. Alright, so here comes Tios again. Well, Senashira, how did you find the experience of tutoring? I trust you gave your apprentices proper instruction. And those are kind of polar opposites. I wish there was some kind of a middle ground here. But okay, it was nice. Yes, well, I'm sure no one really cares one way or another. To be honest, I think they were merely dumped upon you to keep you busy. Busy? Trouble pronouncing words already. But, seeing as how they all survived, you are cordially invited to their graduation, which we will be holding right here. They are a small class, and renting a hall would be excessive. I hope you are dressed for it. You are the only guest. It starts in, oh, about 5 minutes. Oh, I'm all nervous. And here we have Bill Williamson. When I was asked to speak with the graduation class of 1369 DR, I was of course flattered. To see the new generation spread their wings is a wonderful thing. That all of the students lived is an even more remarkable thing. Why, in my very own class, there were several fatalities, and I must reiterate that no one was really to blame. At least, that is what the wisdom of the courts decided. Anyway, it is with great honor that I welcome our graduates to the stage. Moral, Lars, Nara, you are mages today. Of course, they're going to thank us. Yeah, without Senashira, they would be dead, being so reckless in their studies. And without our guidance, they would have just gotten themselves killed. Yes, I can see how you would be thankful. Well, now you can take a step into the real world. A world where you are actually restricted from using the skills you have studied. I love this speech. But under the benevolent yoke of the cult wizards, you will be somewhat protected from arrest. Go forth into the brave new world, quietly and carefully. The graduating class of 1369 DR, we salute you. Yeah, we wouldn't have a chance without you. She's like, can I use you for a reference? Just thinking ahead. Oh, those wacky kids. Well, wasn't that heartwarming? I leave you to reflect upon that while I go see to some business of my own. So that's it? You have nothing else for me? What about my friend Imoen? Of course, we told him to investigate, to ask around, see what he can learn. I'm afraid I have no more to tell you than I did before, which is nothing. I'm getting nowhere with official channels. I find it annoying too, but it is as though we are having trouble contacting all of our resources. I will ask what is going on. Until then, take care. So this is some pretty concerning news. But anyway, we have a little bit more time to do some other stuff. Now, for some follow-ups, both to here, to the Mage Stronghold quests, and also for our Fighter Stronghold quests, we need to advance the time a little bit. So what we're going to do is finally go and visit Cromwell for the first time, and make some items with him. Here we have one chest to unlock for a little bit of experience. And also, before we rest, we're going to give Keldorn this regen ring, and we're going to rearrange our spells for the future. We're going to need one spell sequencer for sure, and I think we might even go with Kelbin's Warding Whip. We'll see how that goes, and we're going to need as many protection from magical weapons as we can get. And here, do I want a breach on Senashira? I think I do want a breach. And that's going to be it. And on Edwin, we need to switch out these level 3 spells. I'm kind of tempted to just keep one protection from fire. It is a very useful spell now, especially now that Edwin is a higher level. This can last for a long while. But we need some slow for sure, and we need spell thrust. And I would like to have another fire arrow, but just to keep the conjuration theme for Edwin, but it's not that important. And here, let's get another stone skin for him. Alright, so Cromwell. He is a renowned smith. And here we can get properly introduced. Yeah, so he has made different items from very exotic materials, and he works only like on commission. Yeah, all of my work be done from commissions. Give me the ingredients and I can forge an item of power, sure enough. So yeah, basically he says like any exotic kind of rare ingredients he would be interested in working with. So we can ask if we have anything in our bags, and he is going to go through a list. We can decline whenever he proposes to do something, but we're going to go with it. So he sees the scales of the Shadow Dragon. By the Soul Forger, 'tis a grand sight. I can make a suit of armor from yon scales if you like. And that's going to cost us 5,000 gold, and it's also going to advance time for 24 hours. And we are also going to get rested through that. And you can see Senashira being hard at work, being an assistant to Cromwell in this forging process. Unfortunately, this cutscene is a little long. In Throne of Ball, we're also going to have a similar, well, creature, really, that's going to do some crafting for us. And fortunately, the cutscene in Throne of Ball is much, much shorter. But this one takes a little while. Alright, so we have the Shadow Dragon scale now, which is a pretty good armor. It's a leather armor of armor class 1, so basically with an armor class of a full plate, although it is magically enchanted, so we cannot combine it with some items of protection, but it also gives us a 50% acid resistance, which is going to come in handy later. So we're going to hold on to it, and since we are rested now, I'm going to just quickly identify some basic stuff, like this full plate mail, large shield +2, battle axe +2, kind of usual stuff. And we are going to have to progress time for another 24 hours. So let's craft another item. Alright, so now he sees the scales from a red dragon, a beast of the dread flame. I shall make a grand suit of armor if you wish. Yeah, so another 5,000 gold. So we're going to do that. Actually, I should have memorized some identify spells on Senashira. We could have identified some more items and then rework our level 1 spells here, since I knew we were going to work twice here. But anyway, doesn't matter all that much. Alright, finally, Cromwell. Jeez. Get a move on, will ya? Making these like super powerful, incredibly rare, exotic, like you know, magical items. But hurry up, will ya? Anyway, here we have the red dragon scale, which is basically a full plate +2, so a really nice armor class here with 50% fire resistance. So another item that is going to make us resistant to fire by quite a lot. So we could equip Jaheira, for example, with that armor and the ring, and just from these two equipment pieces, she would be 90% resistant to fire. And anyway, I think this is going to be it for this episode. Once we go out, we should be approached by a messenger, and we're going to engage in all of those quests in the next episode, I think. So I thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed the content that was presented in this one. At least we had, well, some fights in this one, and I'll see you next time.